Pounders, we are back doing what we do best, and that is put in $5 into the puppy, welcoming Tyler to the live stream. Brother, how are you?
I'm doing great, brother. How are we doing today? Always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're absolutely crushing. You had a good round of golf today, so you're at peace
Oh,
of
yeah.
mind right now, relaxed, even keel.
That's one way to put it. Yeah.
I'm
Relaxed.
looking like I just
with
got
air
back from
quotes.
Hawaii. We're going positive vibes. Positive
only
vibes
today.
tonight. Little housekeeping. We're going to be doing a giveaway for this video. If we hit 50 likes, you leave a comment, and we're going to be giving away a free Roger Goodell towel to a random commenter, and we'll post the winner tomorrow. So I think that is a little incentive for everyone to like the video. Pretty cool
the video.
towels.
Get your friends involved in the videos. Just let them know we're live. Have them tune in. Get some knowledge their way.
Appreciate all the love on the Twitter machines. Max Sauce, what is up, my man? Paul, J Fresh, the typical suspects are with us tonight.
Love it.
So we're going to be double tabling the puppy. So we'll try to get as many of you guys in here as possible. We're also working on the Discord. We're working on updating the best ball guide, and that will be out before the schedule is out on Thursday. And those ADPs are going to change from there. So that's absolutely free to all subscribers as well. And everyone that was a subscriber and got the draft guide for the big board, I think they were all happy with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. All of the suspects are in here tonight.
Yes,
What's going on, gang? What's going on, gang? So I want to pull up this draft real quick here. Cut off my head. Paul was in the one spot here, so this was, it's always a tougher draft when you're drafting with Paul here.
It's a sharp draft.
Right. This team, I went 0 RB. So Little Mahomes at 28, 10 picks after ADP felt good. And our 0 RBs we chose were Dylan was our first one, who's just a good change of pace back. He has a role in the offense, red zone role as well. Would be an instant RB1 if Aaron Jones got hurt. Same thing with Charbonnet. P. Ryan should have a strong start to the season as Javonte Williams is recovering from his knee injury. Rashawn Johnson might earn the number one role first and second down in that time. So I thought this was a good mix of second-year guys, returning guys, rookies, Chuba Hubbs for a little correlation with Bryce Young, and then Kyle Pitts and Hurst. So it's honestly, I'm not even worried about the run backs. I'm worried about the tight ends for this group. Someone tweeted at me, they think Hurst is going to get 6 to 8 touchdowns. I have him more in that 4 to 6 range. If he gets 8 touchdowns, he's an absolute smash pick for where he's going.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're going to see a different Kyle Pitts this year. I'm a little bit higher on Kyle Pitts now that they drafted Bijan. Before I was a little bit skeptical on him, but having Bijan in your backfield just adds a major threat that you have to account for. And they're going to be using a lot of play action with him. We know they run the ball a lot. They're returning the offensive play callers. So they're going to be running the ball a lot, but they're still going to be utilizing a lot of play action. It's still a young quarterback. Tight end's a safety valve. I have a lot of faith in Kyle Pitts this year.
Yeah. No, I like him. And again, it's a tight end position. They don't have to score as much. He doesn't have to score as many points as Drake London to be worth his ADP.
Right.
So it's funny. Paul was actually doing the same exact thing. We'll go over his team too. He was going 0 RB at the same time. So it didn't really help. When I was picking in front of him, he was double picking, and then it would come back to me. But he always ends up with a good team, Lamar and Sam Howell. And then these are all like the other my guys, except for Donta Foreman, and McBride's fine. But Donta Foreman, I'm definitely not on him this year. 3-headed running back. I'm making the bet that the rookie takes over first and second down there.
I call it a 4-headed running back in Chicago because you have Justin Fields too. So
fair. It's fair.
There's 4 guys that are going to be carrying the ball a lot.
That's true. It's true. It's just funny how 2 teams can go 0 RB and you can both teams in the draft.
Exactly. Yeah.
So definitely Zero RB is alive and well, and you can see some of these guys are hashtag my guys. So
Yeah.
let's. What do you got?
I was just
About-
saying, like, before we were talking, like when we were talking before the stream went live, I tried to do a zero RB draft, and it just turned out to be the complete opposite.
Oh
First
yeah,
two picks were
Bijan
RBs off
falls
the
to
board.
you.
Bijan and Saquon fell to me, so I just took them. And I was just like, all right, this is no longer a zero RB. This is a RB heavy team. So it's just the way things fall in a lot of these drafts. You just can't account for it all the time. But if you're
But
going
that's
zero
good.
RB, you got to stick to it.
That's good because you're morphing. You're morphing to the room. And when a value falls to you, you shouldn't already have your mind set up before you go into a draft. Because what are you going to do? Just give up that value pick?
Ignore the value, right?
No, doesn't make sense. So that's very smart of you to do that. Breaking the news that this is a review. Yes, we have not started yet. We have not started yet. We are going to jump in 2 drafts at the same time. Still doing DK drafts with the puppy out? No, not really. I switched over. But that being said, that DK tournament is going to be out for a while. I did around 10 so far, and that's as many as I want to do before the schedule gets out. Jason says, "Dear 8-pound 4-ounce infant baby Jesus, let's go." Yes, awesome scene. ATL is going to be interesting to watch. Yeah, and
Definitely.
don't be surprised when Tom Brady ends up on Atlanta come playoff time. That's my hot
Atlanta
take.
Tom.
That's my hot take. That being
He's
said,
already like rumored to turn down. Like he's rumored that he's turning down some of the Fox deal that he has. So like he doesn't know if he wants to go into broadcasting. So
dude would be the
maybe
most.
he's going back to playing.
I'm sorry. TB12 signed helmet here. I don't want to hear him talk. Shit. All right, let's jump in. I'm getting antsy. I'm getting itchy.
Let's do it, baby.
We're pulling up the puppy, and we are jumping in 2 of them. This one we're waiting on 7. Of course. Hashtag never lucky. Never lucky.
Waiting
Tom
on
Brady to
10,
San Fran. I don't know. I think that was turned down early. I think he wanted to go to San Fran.
I think he wanted to go to San Fran from the get-go. Like it just never panned out. They went with Trey Lance, and then obviously having Jimmy G, like so much money invested in him, it was hard to kind of just bring in Tom Brady too and put a lot of money into Tom Brady, Trey Lance, and Jimmy G and only be able to start one of them. So they said no to that. And then Brock Purdy turned out to be as good as he is. And man, listen, I was high on Brock Purdy coming out of college. I'm surprised he went as Mr. Irrelevant in that draft.
I know you actually were on him. That's the creepiest thing.
I was on Brock Purdy out of college. I don't know why he went as Mr. Irrelevant in that draft. I remember watching him hoop at Iowa State.
Though. He fits in that scheme.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not
scheme. So
it's I don't want to say it's not hard to fit in that scheme, but it's a quarterback friendly scheme. They do a lot of things to just be able to make the quarterback super comfortable and not put all the pressure on them. So he's very smart with his quarterbacks, and all the props to them over in San Fran.
Dude, we're getting JJ at 2 here. That's an absolute gift for the boys.
That's a great way to start this stream.
So we got the 2 spot and the 12 spot. So basically, with JJ, it's like we got the 1.
Basically.
Even better. All right. We're going to do something interesting. So we'll split these, right? We'll just split these. I'll mark them.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I want to do something interesting with this 2 spot, JJ.
That makes me nervous sometimes.
You should honestly be very nervous, and maybe you should pull out a notepad at the same time. Like multiple things are happening.
I'm gonna need an Excel sheet.
Eric B says I'm in the 6th spot in draft 2. Good luck. Goes Kelsey at 6.
Oh, that's a value.
Yeah, I'm cool with Kelsey at 6.
At 6, definitely all day.
It's just I would rather him.
It's
like
hard.
8+. It's
Yeah.
just in the 18 round drafts, it's acceptable at least.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't have to worry about a tight end until round 17 or 18 again. So you can focus on your running backs and your wide receivers for the next 15, 16 rounds.
What if we do this? Is this easier to see? Exactly, because you only need one more, and that doesn't mean maybe like push it all the way off to round 18. But if you think about pushing it all the way off to round 18 last year, pairing with Kelsey, you were getting like Brevin Jordan, or you were
Yeah.
getting Austin Hooper, both huge misses, and it didn't matter because Kelsey was such a beast.
Yeah.
But at the same point, Kelsey didn't have a good week 17, so the teams that did have Kelsey really didn't finish that high.
Like even in traditional fantasy, when you had Kelsey and he didn't have a good week and you lost and you just threw all your dignity out the window.
True.
Speaking from experience, but whatever.
I say we double tap wide receiver here. Just
Yeah, I like it.
Being in the 12
You
spot.
thinking CD or
Yeah, let's go CD. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I love him, right? Great value, but fantasy football playoffs when Jameson Williams is back, he will take a small hit in my book.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to reach for him at 12 when these two are on the board.
Right. And those are both obviously number one options on their team. And New York has a lot of weapons, but I think you're going to see a lot more weapons in Detroit than you are really anywhere else, especially out of the backfield with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They're both pass catching first backs. So I think you're going to see a lot of the kind of usage out of the backfield with both of them in the pass catching situation.
So I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save the trick for another day. We're gonna go Pollard here.
Safe pick.
He honestly should be ahead of Waddle. He should be ahead of T. Higgins for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm higher on Waddle than I am on T. Higgins. I know last year I was a little bit further down on T. Higgins, but
I love this start. This is my favorite start
that's a great start
that I could possibly go. I couldn't dream up a better start than getting Tony Pollard and Stevenson. Both have capabilities to be a top 5 back this year.
Yeah.
With JJ. Chase went at 4. Eric B, who are you saying is the most expensive he's ever been? Hard for me to put Pollard over those receivers just because I love Pisson, Ben says. But when we think about it, Jalen Waddle's wide receiver 2 on his team. T. Higgins is the wide receiver 2 on his team. Now, that's early for Higgins. He doesn't go at 16, right? He goes at 25. So he already is behind Pollard. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
He might be pulling T. Higgins into a different spot, though. So he might be doing something with this. Keep an eye out. And that's exactly what we were going to do over here. I was going to go JJ and pull in Mark Andrews and Lamar. Because how many teams have Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and Justin Jefferson? Think it's a very, very interesting start.
Yeah, I tried to in one of my drafts. I tried to get that start. I ended up with Lamar, I ended up with Andrews, but Lamar got drafted 2 picks before me.
Interesting.
Very, very painful on that. I was planning for a Baltimore start, but
we see Lamar get pulled here, but this is kind of weird because Kelsey should be going here, right? Devonta Smith usually goes around here, and Lamar, I think he can get better values. Kelsey, it's not crazy to think he falls to 6 or 7 or 8 even.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at where he was taken last year, he was at the turn. He was at the 12-13 turn. And I thought that was a pretty good value just because, I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020 when you're looking at it and say it's a great value because he finished with an insane point total, just like 100 more points than the next closest tight end. So you're getting a crazy value there, and you finish with more points than a lot of wide receiver ones. But right now, the price is a little bit too high.
How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I absolutely love that. That's one of the stacks that I've been trying to get very aggressively, but have not been able to do that just with the positions I've been granted by the underdog gods. I've been in the like 7 to 10 range in every single draft I've had. So I'm very just,
Variance.
I praise the
Variance.
underdog gods, but just been sitting in that range.
It'll turn your way. And you want going back to the Kelsey talk, the reason why you feel like it's pricey is because if that tight end 2 is closer to Kelsey, based on where you're drafting that tight end 2, no matter who it is, Mark Andrews, if it's Hawkinson, if it's Waller being absolute smash compared to Kelsey, because you're paying for him to get 100 or more points than the second tight end. If that doesn't happen, Kelsey might have a great season. He might end up tight end 1, but he might still sort of bust from a value standpoint. Now, when we think about single game ceiling, yes, give me Kelsey over anybody for single game ceiling, because that's really all we care about. Oh, we're on the clock. Double tabling and talking. We need a wide receiver here. Thinking Keenan Allen and we can bring it back with Herbert, or do you want to just go Hopkins?
Hey, that's your call. I'm all fine with either. I know Keenan has a little bit more injury risk, and they brought in another wide receiver there, so they might be on their way out with both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but he is still the presumed number 1 target there.
Floor guy. He is a floor play. In my opinion, I would rather Mike Williams here. Oh, and Justin Herbert gets sniped anyways. Max Payne. We'll just go one of these two, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If Herbert gets sniped, just take one of the other 2 best receivers there. And in my opinion, it's those guys.
So this is a clear example of don't take the QB before the receiver, because if you go Herbert and instead of Allen and Allen gets sniped, now you're kind of scrambling. You have to get Quentin Johnston and just kind of, I don't know. I think that's a little thin, just going Herbert and the rookie.
Yeah.
But it's a little example there.
I'm pretty high on Johnston too, though. I think he's a guy that immediately could come in and take over the wide receiver 2 role, like over Mike Williams. I think you could see him potentially getting 100 plus targets this year. And there's only one other rookie receiver that I think is going to get 100 targets this year, and that's Jordan Addison.
Damn.
Even JSN, I don't think JSN's going to reach 100 targets. I think he'll approach. I think he'll be in the 80 to 90 range, but I think with Addison, you're going to see a freakish rookie season from him.
That's a good. I like that projection. I'm all for that 80 to 90 targets for JSN. What's scary, and it's not just because it's Metcalf and Lockett, it's scary that they bring in Charbonnet. Is this team going to start to go a little more run heavy with this 2-headed monster they have now? Very strong running back core. That is what I think could hurt both Metcalf, JSN, and Lockett to some extent. But
yeah, the only reason I say that about JSN not getting like 100 plus targets is you have Lockett and DK on the outside. JSN's going to primarily be a slot guy, and that's where he was most comfortable in college when he was playing inside of Olave and Wilson. I watched a lot of Ohio State football. He was most comfortable when he was in the slot, and that's when he had more receiving yards, more touchdowns, more catches than both Wilson and Olave. So they're going to use him as a slot and just make him the most comfortable they can. and he's right there.
Here, I like tight end here in this spot. I'm
I do
not going
too.
JSN here.
Yeah.
We have too high of upside guys to bring in JSN.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's bring in Pitts. And for second pick, I think we have to go running back. Who do you like between Pierce, Pacheco, Cook? That's sort of what I'm looking at.
Is it wrong to say none of the above and like Swift more than any of those guys?
Ugh,
I
can't. I can't.
I think if you're looking at touchdown upside, it's Pacheco.
Okay.
I mean, obviously the trade rumors have resurfaced with Dalvin Cook now. I don't know if anyone else has seen it. It's within the last like 24 to 48 hours that there's trade rumors again around Dalvin Cook, potentially the Vikings shopping him. So where he ends up, if it is in Minnesota or if it's somewhere else, could be a big factor on where his ADP is right now.
Dwayne McBride to the moon.
Hey, maybe.
Sorry, I have to trigger the Alexander Madison truthers. Here we already have our two running backs. I kind of like Treylon Burks here.
Yeah, this is a tough range for receivers between this like 60 to 70. It's kind of a tough range for receivers. I like Treylon Burks. I absolutely hate Kadarius Toney. I know a lot of people are higher on him in Kansas City, but I am just so low on him. I have 0% Kadarius Toney, and I plan on having minimal to no Kadarius Toney heading into the season.
It's a bad value, right? But you're not paying for the value. You're paying for that single game potential spike, which is like when we think tournaments, what's most important is to think about what's their single game spike. Now, I'd rather Gabe Davis, right? But to have, I'll probably end up with like 3% Toney, 2% Toney. It's just tough to have zero of a guy that can score 2 touchdowns, right?
I mean, I did a short on him. If the stream hasn't seen it, check it out. But I did a short on him, and I dove deep into Kadarius Toney stats, and his spike potential over the last 2 years, like his peak was 19 points. Like his highest ever fantasy performance game was 19 points. So if you're looking for a spike value, you should probably look elsewhere because that spike is pretty low.
Oh shit! I went Gabe here for the New England correlation.
Yeah, I like that.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, Hart says he has like 3%. I think that's smart. Smart.
Play it safe, like on the lower side. I mean, if the off chance he does just have an insane season, like bad on me. You guys can all come back to me and tell me that I'm stupid, but
yeah,
I did a deep dive into him, and it nothing really looked good.
Ben says he loves QJ for the dynasty, but not on him this year. Enjoying the Palmer discount. Interesting. London should probably be closer to Burks Pickens. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I agree with that because London has to score more points than Kyle Pitts. He has to, and like significantly more based on the receivers that are going in that range versus Kyle Pitts and the tight ends. Oh man, I love that take. Connor goes. He was going to be one that I was peeking at. Anthony Richardson goes. What do you think about just doing this? We have the correlation with Lamb. We're done at QB when we do this.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to just shore yourself up at QB and kind of forget about that position for the rest of the draft.
Yeah.
And Brandon Cooks is a very under the radar guy.
Yeah.
I mean, multiple 1,000-yard seasons.
Perfect landing spot.
It's a perfect landing spot in Dallas. They
didn't address the position.
Needed a wide receiver 2 across from CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. And
They get rid of
Dak.
Schultz. It's just the offense is condensing their targets, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah,
So-
absolutely. I mean, you lose Zeke, you cut
Mhm.
Zeke, you get rid of Schultz, or you lose Schultz. You don't really add anything on the offensive side of the ball. You drafted Deuce Vaughn in the 6th round, but what does that really do for the team as a whole? Not a lot.
It's true. Very similar. I'm very similar standpoint with you on that one. If you guys didn't see the early part of the video, we're doing a giveaway. If this video hits 50 likes, all you have to do is go back and comment after it's posted. Let us know our draft grade for these two drafts. You can combine the average. Be the teacher. And we're giving away a Barstool Roger Goodell clown nose towel.
Got mine hanging up right here. Can't see it
Hell
on
yeah.
stream, but it's here. I promise.
It's there for good luck.
It's there for good luck.
Rub his nose and hope your
his-
secret stat comes back.
Exactly.
It definitely gives you drafting powers.
That's what I didn't do this morning when I was drafting. And
getting
I got
sniped left and right.
like 7 times and had to change strategies all over again on multiple drafts. So
Let's see who comes back to us here. We're up in 11 picks there. We have a lot of pounders in this one. Rackham Willie, Dennis, Heart Rates, David Berg, Nate's, I believe, is a pounder. Fracci, I know, is here. Mario Solar, Ches, what's up? Ben, this is a D-Gen draft if I've ever seen one.
someone badge heavy draft.
Someone post this one up on Twitter when it's done. Give us a tag.
Badge heavy draft. That's when you know there's a lot of pounders in there. You know it's sharp.
Dude, there's some pounders that don't have badges, and you would have thought this was their 3rd year on Underdog. You can learn a lot from just listening, watching, seeing how we balance the squad.
Yeah, I mean, to speak from my own point of view, this is my 2nd year on Underdog, and I learned so much from Pat in just the first year that I played. And
true sicko.
Here we are now.
I got you on.
I've been deep diving into things, and it's just I'm just a stat wizard now. Like I'm going into websites you wouldn't even believe.
Dark web,
essentially
BestBall.
the dark web for BestBall stuff. So now I'm just like I got stats just rattled off the top of my head.
That's true. You are like a fucking Snapple can. I guess it's a glass. Danny Dimes here. You don't have to stack him with any of the receivers, but we could get a Hyatt late. We'll see if he comes to us. If he gets sniped, really don't mind it. This range is pretty ugly. I would prefer to go Njoku here. I assume this guy's not going to go a 3rd tight end after selecting 2 middle round tight ends. I think that would be awful for him. Yeah. Njoku, I think there's a clear fall off. Pat Fryermuth, they bring in Allen Robinson. They bring in Darnell Washington. Kind of 2 red zone guys. Half point PPR. Yeah. Those touchdowns mean a lot. So
I love
I'm
Njoku.
cool with, yeah. Oh,
3rd in the NFL in red zone targets for tight ends. So, hey, red zone targets is one of the biggest stats to me. And he was 3rd in the NFL for tight ends.
We're shifting over here. We have 1 running back through 9 rounds. I don't love Brian Robinson. I don't hate him. I think we're going to need him for this squad. I don't love any of these receivers in this range. What are you thinking for the 2nd pick?
Who's the quarterback in this one? I forget.
We're done at
Fields.
QB.
Okay,
we have Chicago.
QB.
Yeah.
I'm going to say QB is not a bad play, but
we could reach down for
in this
Mooney.
one. I don't hate the Mooney stack.
I think it has to be a running back, though, to be honest. Khalil Herbert for the correlation.
I was going to say, I also don't hate the Khalil Herbert stack. He is pass catcher first.
I would just hate to miss this range.
Than they did Montgomery. So when he was healthy, he was utilized way more in the red zone than David Montgomery was. So
Yeah.
I think the plan is to probably get him back as the red zone guy.
Larry 2 times going off in the chat with some off awful comments. It's no easy way to put it. I think if we miss this range though at running back, we only move forward with just Pacheco or just Pacheco and Robinson, we really put ourselves in a bad situation where you would have to love that receiver, right, to really put you in a good spot, and no one really fell there. So I think that made the most sense, and we got the correlation as well.
Yeah.
Larry's everywhere. I see him commenting on all the influencers' videos. Welcome to the live stream, my man. Welcome to the live stream. Almost at 20 likes. Let's go. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Myers goes to Rent Free. This name's familiar, but I don't think he's a pounder. Let's see what Artie's been doing. Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, Terry, Chris Godwin, super strong wide receiver. He has the Deshaun Watson, Njoku stack, with Amari Cooper, Chubb as well, and Stevenson. I like this team a lot from Artie. Artie's really improved at drafting this offseason. I don't even mind Nick Chubb, right? And Deshaun Watson, you're not really expecting any like reception touchdowns from Nick Chubb. You have the off chance that it does happen, but you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself every single touchdown in this offense when you have Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson. And we're flipping back over here. This is our I love this start. I'm really. This one has me freaking
a little riled up.
Oh, too much. Rackham Willie brings it all the way down to triple zeros here. Not on Jamal at all. I think Elijah Mitchell makes a lot of sense for this team. A lot of sense.
Yeah, change of pace back there. Granted, it's a full healthy season.
Starting to think about who our QB2 and our secondary stack is going to be. It's probably going to have to end up being like someone late with a late pick.
Yeah.
Most likely a three QB team.
Potentially a Tannehill stack with the Traylon Burks.
I think Levis is going to start for the playoffs, though. I think I'd be more comfortable going Levis. It's going to depend.
Yeah. I mean,
honestly, I think naked Goff right now, and we could pull in like a late Marvin Jones. We could pull in a Laporta as well.
I like that too.
I'm just comfortable with these two. Goff, he should be spreading the ball to a lot of targets this season. So it's not as condensed of an offense as like Cincinnati is, where it's like, all right, Chase, Higgins, like that's basically it. Tyler Boyd will spike once a year for over 20 points.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's usually when one of those two receivers is hurt. So I think this makes a lot of sense. And then our third QB can be maybe a rookie stack with their receivers here. But this, I'm liking the balance of the squad. What do you think about Sam Laporta going in front of Michael Mayer to Detroit? Clearly, like Michael Mayer was the better all-around tight end. Oh shit, we're on the clock here.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, we're double clicking here. We need a receiver. Mingo, welcome to the team. We could go tight end here and be done.
Who's lower on the wide receivers there? Who's past Dulcich?
Oh, sorry.
Alec Pierce, Romeo Dubes.
I think we go RB here, and I'm fine with bringing in Kendry Miller.
Yeah, I do like DPJ a lot too as a
Hmm.
wide receiver, but I think Kendrick Miller is a safe play.
We already have Herbert. Otherwise, maybe we go Rashawn here. Maybe it ends up being a team where you can go both, but it's so thin while also having Justin Fields.
Yeah,
So
and
if we didn't have Fields, I wouldn't mind actually going both running backs. Because I think Rashawn Johnson, I mean, Khalil Herbert's 5'9" and change. He's not going to be a 3-down back. Now that being said, he'll be the 3rd down back. I think Rashawn Johnson can take over that 1st and 2nd down role. But how many touchdowns is Justin Fields going to cipher?
a lot.
I'd just rather take the bet on another offense with Kendrick Miller and taking over the job from Jamal Williams. And the problem, though, that everyone has to think about is Kamara, his suspension. When's it going to happen? And he's not going to get cut. Like, he's not a cut candidate. He already restructured his contract and shaved like half of the money off. So he's not a cut candidate.
Yeah, I wouldn't count him as a cut candidate at all, but the suspension's going to come. How long is it going to be? What point of the season is it going to come? Is it going to be the first 6 games? Is it going to come halfway through the season where he misses a middle chunk? Is it going to be the last 6 games? It's weird. Like, how long is it going to be? Where in the season is it going to come, and how long is it going to be is the big question.
True.
I have Kamara in a few of my drafts, just like as the hope that it's the beginning of the season, and the last half of the season he's just like an absolute monster, like he was in his heyday. But I think there's 3 running backs there now, and I don't know if we're gonna see like the traditional Alvin Kamara that we're used to seeing. I think this is his fall.
I know Sean Payton's out of town as well. Is that a good thing for him? But it is busy with Hill too. Take a shot on the young buck. I like Kendra Miller. He was one of my favorite rookies coming into this. Had like 23% of him in the big board. I think it's a pretty damn good spot. And he's like 70 picks more expensive. So it's looking good for those exposures there. Rack 'em. Oh, don't auto pick Kyler. Thank God. I think we go Kyler here. We have the 2 QBs to, get him to a point where Kyler's healthy and playing. We do have DeAndre Hopkins. We could just kind of say maybe DeAndre Hopkins stays, right?
Yeah.
It also opens us up to Trey McBride later.
I think Kyler Murray is likely to stay there. I mean, he is still young. DeAndre Hopkins will stay there. He's still younger. The only reason I would think he would be
I wouldn't say
traded
he's younger. He's definitely he's 30, right? So once they turn like 29, that's when it's like, all right, dynasty wise, like who can I sell this guy to?
Dynasty-wise, if we're looking at dynasty-wise. But I'm talking single season best ball. And
he
if
could still put up another good season.
absolutely.
No doubt.
The only reason I see him leaving is next year. And that would be if they were able to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. The absolute Lamborghini of draft prospects.
I don't know if I love this pick. Let's go Greg Dulcich here. I don't have a lot of Greg Dulcich, but this probably has to be a 3 tight end team anyways.
Yeah, it's not a bad ad there. And I was going to say, like, I don't hate a Romeo Dubes there either, but I think the receivers, the chances of him spiking over any of those receivers is probably not very high. So I think you bring in your at least second tight end who's going to have a higher value that could potentially spike into the lineup multiple times throughout the season.
And when we take this bet with Kyler Murray, it also opens us up to get Rondell Moore as well with our
Yeah.
next pick. So it does make sense. It does make sense. But yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, I think his value kind of, he might be too discounted, right? He might be a little too cheap this season. We saw what he did in the limited amount of games that he played last year. I mean, it's quite a few. It's over 10, right? But he was suspended for the first 6 games of the year, and then he almost paced to have like the most catches, most yards for a wide receiver. He caught up fast. You saw Bill Belichick boosting his confidence on the sideline.
There was a brief, like, hot moment when we thought he was going to be a Patriot, and obviously
That died so fast.
that just died so fast.
I like bringing in Gallup here with the Dak stack.
Yeah, I agree.
And
And the
then
CD and Brandon Cooks. I mean,
right.
he's throwing
Now-
touchdowns to somebody, right?
I mean,
Maybe not all the time to the other team.
Hopefully not the defense. Do you like Chase Brown here or Jalen Warren?
I think we know what Jalen Warren's role is. I think it's a little safer of a role there. Potentially, we see the suspension for Joe Mixon too, so I don't hate Chase Brown as having some RB1 time.
I have so much Chase Brown. Send it. Send it. Send it. Send it. You sold me. You sold me. I'm in. We ended up with 22% on the big board. He was just going. He was going too late.
It was he fell in a really good position, and
yeah, we would like any of these running backs, right? If they landed in Cincy.
Yeah, I was surprised. Sean Tucker didn't end up there. I thought he was a really good fit in Cincinnati, and him not finding a home yet is kind of shocking to me because he was one of my favorite running backs coming out of this class. But
5-star recruit kind of got dethroned by Kendra Miller at TCU, was it?
I couldn't really understand why he didn't get drafted and why he still hasn't found a home yet. But
injuries, maybe. I think Wandale, he's just kind of staring me directly in the face, like, "Hey, man, like I'll be healthy by game 4. Like, just take me." Fuck.
I also don't hate a Singletary play. Like I have a couple shares of Singletary. I know Damian Pierce is still there, but got banged up a little bit towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Damian Pierce isn't like a freak.
He's not a bulletproof
athlete,
running back.
It's
right.
True.
He's not that bulletproof running back where he cannot be completely dethroned. And Singletary had some good time in Buffalo.
That being said, I don't know if Singletary will be the guy to dethrone him because also not a freak running back.
Also not an RB1 per se, but
you could see more of
more snaps for him.
Yeah, for sure. Change of pace back and maybe some third down work. We see this 40 catches back-to-back years, basically. We can do Kyler here, but I think we need to touch on running back, like back-to-back picks for sure. I kind of like the Tajay Spears with the potential, anything happens to Derrick Henry. He would have to outplay Hassan Haskins, which doesn't seem ridiculous. But the safer pick, we'll go with the safer pick. We'll go with Devin Singletary. You just talked him up. So, all right, I'm sold.
Wait. People are saying in the chat too that Tucker's in Tampa Bay. When did that happen?
Undrafted free agent. He must got picked up. I think I saw something yesterday. Now that they mention it,
I was gonna say I was drafting yesterday and he was still listed.
Yeah, I don't think he has,
and I have no reports on him.
I hate how these notes. It's like, hey, we got a note on him, and it's like, yeah, JK.
Not even that. Like there was no team listed next to him.
Yeah, there's still none, but there's none listed next to Bryce Ford Wheaton, and he's in New York. He's a Giant, which would actually be a fucking sneaky pick, guys. You didn't hear anything. We need that Men in Black tool real quick, Ty. Everyone look at the screen. Yeah. Everyone look at the screen. He's someone that's not being drafted, right? And freak athlete, 9.97 on the RAS score, raw athletic, whatever. Now, it's not everything, clearly, but shit. A freak on the measurables. We're up in 3 picks over here. This is our team with Justin Fields and Dak. We're heavily correlated on the Dallas side. We also have the correlation. I mean, we have a double in Chicago as well. I know you guys aren't going to let me get this. There's no way. I'm staring at him. There's no way, right? Gainwell off the board. Yes, please. Yes, please. We need a running back here. We need RB here. Okay. Shit. You want to what? Like, I love Taekwon. I think we have to double tap RB though. We have Kyle Pitts. We can put off tight end a little longer.
Yeah.
I like Chuba and Zach Evans. I think we're done at running back once we bring these two in. Or
I like that.
You're fine with that?
Absolutely.
Over old man Lenny?
Yeah, I think there's just too much uncertainty around where both Lenny and Hunt are going to end up and what the role could look like.
I hate Hunt. I just think he's dust. Lenny, I mean, if he lands somewhere in a third down role, you can pretty much guarantee 50 catches, in my opinion. That being said, he kind of looked pretty dusty last season as well, but who knows? Tough to tell. Terrible O-line play.
That's what I was going to say. You blame a lot of that on the O-line, like just a terrible offensive line in Tampa Bay last season. So, like, I don't point the finger directly at him, but he was not productive in his touches.
Yeah. Hey, Vapor, welcome to the live stream. Could Tucker outplay White? I'm just not a White believer. White came out and said that go ahead and draft Bijan. I'll outplay Bijan for whatever that's worth.
I'm a big White believer. So I am an ASU grad, ASU alum. Rashad White
here
came
comes
from
the
ASU. But hey, no
comes the
bias here. No bias here.
No bias.
I went to our games. That's all I'm gonna say. I went to our games, and that man was the only decent offensive weapon on that entire team. And he just ran through everybody. He was an absolute menace.
I think we do the same thing here. We bring in Chubes.
Yeah, I like that.
Should have a third down role. I mean, he would be a handcuff to Miles Sanders as well, which isn't the worst thing in the world. And this is the team with Kyler. I think we go ahead and we bring in McBride here with this pick, and we're done at tight end.
Say that again.
Bring in McBride here, last tight end. Correlation with Kyler.
Yeah, I love that. I have a lot of Kyler and McBride stack.
Yeah, it's so easy as a late stack. We also get Kyler, 16 picks after ADP here, which is always nice. That's where I start to think about him. I really don't love him at this ADP, but again, tournaments, large field tournaments especially, you're shooting for the most upside. I mean, who knows how much he's going to run? That's the thing. Week 15, 16, 17, it's a dart throw. This is why you're getting him so cheap. If it wasn't an ACL tear, he wouldn't be going at 127.
They didn't draft offensive line at 6 overall for no reason. So
hell yeah, they want to run the ball.
They're bringing in the best offensive lineman in the tag. They're bringing in the best offensive lineman in the draft to protect him and also run the ball.
It's true. That's fair. Last two picks here. One has to be a receiver. One has to be a tight end. Let's see the receivers here. Lamb, Wilson, DJ Moore, Cooks. Yeah, that's a good group. It's a very
good group. Yeah.
Not stopping at 6 because we have 3 correlated Dallas players. I mean, you think about the bye week, you'd only have Wilson, Moore, and Mingo. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
We definitely need another receiver. We're not going to naked Pitts. Actually, going naked tight ends really, really bad. The more tight ends you can get into the playoffs, like nothing more than 3. Obviously, 4 is kind of gross. You're wasting a roster spot or 2. It does give you options.
Yeah. I don't hate like Tyler Conklin in this position. I think he has high touchdown upside. We saw it last year with kind of like the most
He's gone.
crap bum. Oh, no, there you go. Never mind. Forget what I was going to say.
He's done.
Rewind.
McBride or Henry?
I would rather McBride than Henry.
Okay.
I think they brought in Gesicki for the pass catching role out of the tight end spot.
Yeah, but when it get down to the red zone, it'll still be Henry in the red zone. Wide receivers. Who do you like out of this group?
I don't love a lot of these guys.
I don't like Claypool. I don't mind
Dell has high touchdown upside. I think Cedric Tillman has high touchdown upside. Marvin Jones, maybe the first 6 weeks of the season, has high touchdown upside. But outside of that, you're not going to get much.
Let's go Terrace Marshall. Let's go Terrace Marshall. Live a little bit.
Yeah, I like it.
I didn't want a rookie because same reason. We already have 1 rookie, right?
Yeah.
And we have 3 players out on bye on a single week. And that would leave us with 4 players. It would leave us with Wilson, DJ Moore, Mingo, and another rookie. I don't know. I also am not convinced that, I mean, at least we have a little correlation here too. I think that does make sense. Not a lot of people are doing these little double correlation stacks on the same team. I think those are interesting. It's a little way to leverage the field. I think it gets different in a good way. So we're done at QB. We're done at tight end.
Do you hate Tank Dell? Because Hart says you hate Tank Dell.
Nope. I have him on every single team. I have him on every single team on DraftKings. We're done at tight end. This is going to be either running back or receiver.
I think receiver. I think the running backs are so sure right now.
And this is an easy pick. We're going Marvin Jones for the correlation with Goff because we have no correlation with Goff.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm fine with this double anchor RB. We'll go over everyone's team. We will go over the teams. Mac sauce. Macaroni and cheese. Pat hates Dell. He's a okay.
That's what I mean.
He's a PPR. He's a PPR guy. He's gonna play in the slot. He's a receiver that is relatively small, plays bigger than his size. But I mean, look, he's in Houston. It's not the best.
New QB. They're trying to revamp the whole team.
If you put him in KC, like, yeah, sure, I'll take Dell at 140. But
that's why I love Rashid Rice where he's at right now.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Rashid Rice person. That guy's a physical playmaker.
Where are you at with Sky Moore, and where are you at with MVS?
MVS, I'm gone. Like, you won't catch me drafting MVS, even if he falls to 250 million. I won't draft MVS. He's had every opportunity in the world to take over the number 1 receiver role there, and he has said, I don't want it. I can't catch balls consistently. I don't want anything to do with MVS. Sky Moore, I think, has a lot of potential. I was higher on him last year than I should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know that he was just going to fumble the ball on every single punt return that he got a chance on, and then just find his way to the bench. But he came alive in the playoffs, so I'm a little bit higher on Sky Moore, but you
that
won't
punt
catch
return.
me. You won't catch me drafting Tony or MVS. Sky Moore and Rashid Rice, I think, have the most upside for the wide receivers in Kansas City.
I'm with you there. I don't like MVS. He's just not a good receiver. We think about Aaron Rodgers' MVP season, and MVS had a terrible year.
Right.
All right. Bring out the grading hats. We got Artie, the fat man, going a 3.573 build. Deshaun Watson, Matthew Stafford, Sam Howell at QB. I think this group's it's okay. It's okay. Njoku, Cole Kmet, and Taysom Hill. Running backs, Chubb, Ramondre Stevenson, Samaje P. Ryan, Antonio Gibson, and CEH. Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, Jahan Dotson, DPJ. I think it's a well-balanced squad. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the wide receivers are the strong point in this team. I think you could have gone another running back and saved yourself from drafting a third tight end, because I think having Njoku and Kmet is a little bit safer than having just 5 running backs who 3 of them are potentially not even going to see the field all that much. Like I don't know what CEH's role is going to look like. It doesn't look all that great. I would have gone another running back
It
rather
doesn't look great
than a
after
third tight end.
the McKinnon signing. I don't
Yeah,
mind stopping here at 5. CH is my favorite last pick, but it doesn't mean it can't hit. Gibson should have a role in third down, but he does have it correlated. Sam Howell with Antonio Gibson. He also has Dotson and McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. Super.
yeah,
All in on Washington.
Super Washington.
Has Cleveland stacks galore as well. Cooper, DPJ, and Njoku. So it's a well correlated team as well. I think it's
Definitely.
a good squad. I mean, if Washington hits, this team's going to the moon. The chances
Yeah.
Washington hits, though, not extremely high. ER7 in the live stream got Daniel Jones and Goff stops at 2 here. I think that's okay.
That's
A lot of rookies, though. Probably too many rookies for my liking. Let's say
See,
Gibbs.
the thing is, I'm okay with not counting Gibbs as a rookie because he's the RB1, right? Like they drafted him 12 overall for a reason. They saw a lot in him. I saw a lot in him. I think he's the best pass catching back out of the entire draft class, and he doesn't get as much credit as being a really good just physical runner too.
He won't get 200 touches
necessarily
though.
As a.
He's not a 200 touch candidate in my opinion.
I'll bet you he does.
All right, put it on the board. 10 spot.
Put it on the board.
10 spot. Put it on the board. 200 touches. And I'm talking about rushing attempts, not just catches and etc. Talking rushing attempts.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board. All right, settled.
Let's go.
Kenneth Walker, Devon A-Chain, Rashawn Johnson, Tajay Spears, Lenny. If Lenny lands somewhere, it's just the rookies start off slow. Like full point PPR, sure. I'm on board, but half point, I think you need one more returning guy at least. Excuse me. Darren Waller, Sam Laporta, and Isaiah Likely.
Great tight end room.
I like the
that
group.
a lot.
AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Pittman, Marquise Brown, all the Brown brothers. Sky Moore, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Paris Campbell. The correlation with Danny Dimes also has Goff with Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and Laporta. So well correlated team.
Very well correlated team. I like that a lot.
Van Falcon's in this draft as well. Anthony Richardson at 83. Kirk Cousins. I think that's fine because you have your floor guy who can have a 3 touchdown spike. And then you have Richardson, who is your ceiling guy with the rushing upside. Tight ends. TJ Hawk. Oh my God. I didn't scroll all the way down. I thought I just went TJ Hawk. I got scared. TJ Hawk and Jelani Woods. I'm fine with that. Got the correlation here. Actually with both tight ends, which is really nice.
Love that TJ Hawkinson stack. with Kirk Cousins. I think TJ Hawkinson,
Do you think it's
in my
expensive
opinion,
after they add a receiver in the draft?
not really. In my opinion, TJ Hawkinson is I don't want to diss Mark Andrews, but I think TJ Hawkinson has the most upside to dethrone Travis Kelce as the number 1 tight end this year.
Oh,
Minnesota finds themselves in shootouts more than anyone in the NFL. I think they were 3rd in points allowed per game last season. So they just continuously throw the ball and throw the ball and throw the ball.
Yeah.
I think
And they
TJ
will.
Hawkinson
They'll
has
continue. They're gonna
right.
throw the ball again this year. They were, I think, 6th from the bottom on rushing attempts, and we kind of saw that coming in with the new OC. Larry 2 times says, Pounders, hit that like button. We're almost at 20 likes. We're gonna be doing a giveaway at 50 likes. If this video can hit it, just leave a comment after the video is posted, and we'll be doing a random selection from there if the video hits 50 likes. Hawk Vapor says, I think Hawk's expensive, but I still want shares. That's exactly how I feel about it. That is exactly how I feel about it. This running back room, Saquon Barkley, Najee Harris, Damian Harris, the Harris brothers, Jeff Wilson, Tank Bigsby, and Pierre Strong. I like the group. I like fun. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Brendan Ayuk, Jordan Addison. Yeah, he's got the correlation there too. Beautiful. Elijah Moore, Jalen Hyatt, Alec Pierce correlation with Richardson, Rashid Shaheed, Tyquan Thornton. A lot of my guys in here. Yeah, like Rashid Shaheed and Alec Pierce are good picks with these receivers in front of you, because how are they going to spike into the lineup, right? If it's like a Hunter Renfrow, who's, kind of a floor guy, these guys are ceiling guys. So I think even Tyquan Thornton, like these picks make a lot of sense, and that has a lot of upside.
Yeah, that's a very, very good draft team.
All right, let's go over to the other one, which is going to be this draft. Rackham Willie, Jalen Hurts, Ryan Tannehill at QB. I'm fine with it. Especially if
I like that a lot.
It's just going to depend. Is Will Levis going to take over at the end of the season? Can Ryan Tannehill muster his way to another playoff run if he stays healthy?
I mean, if he just keeps turning around and handing the ball off to Derrick Henry, yeah.
Playoff run. TJ Hawk and Irv Smith. I think it's okay. Oh my God, how many receivers does this team have? 9. Running backs: Jacobs, Pacheco, P. Ryan, Gibson, and Zeke. I'm gonna say right now it should be another running back.
Yeah.
Chase, Kirk, Addison, Jameson Williams, Jacoby Myers, Alec Pierce, Nico Collins, John Mechie, and Chase Claypool. Would have liked to seen the rookie QB. Wonder if he got sniped. If Bryce Young got sniped here. But Chase Claypool, in my opinion, should have been a running back.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Just like we talked about before, like the chances of that last receiver spiking into your lineup over a Jamar Chase, Christian Kirk, Jordan Addison, James Williams, like when he's back
as your number 9 guy.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's not high. So I would have liked to seen like another running back who has that potential to get into the lineup, but to each their own.
I'm with you, because let's say, you don't have Jameson Williams for 6 weeks. So maybe that was his thinking. Just someone to pad while he's gone, but you still would have 7 other guys. So to get you, it's like Jameson Williams can be back for the bye weeks, right? So I think to shoot for the most upside, this is just a random running back. Let's say Dwayne McBride on Minnesota. Solid team though. Besides that, I think the balance is really close on it. Dennis with Josh Allen and Geno. Love this.
That's fire quarterback.
Ingram, Kincaid, and Likely. I think the tight ends are fine.
Yep. Like that a lot.
Walker, Dalvin Cook, Cam Akers, Chase Brown, Israel Abanikanda. Not a ton of values. I mean, this is actually 9 spots. This is kind of where you should be going, right around Aaron Jones. I wonder if he went before or after Aaron Jones here. He went one pick before Aaron Jones. Correlated though with Geno Smith, which is nice. Dalvin Cook at 69. I mean, that's pretty nice, to be honest. I like this running back room. It's going to depend on like if Chase can find work early. This is a nice squad. And if Israel and Abanikanda can sneak into maybe the RB2 slot in over there in New York, they don't like Michael Carter. I mean, they would have just not drafted a running back.
But they liked Zonovan Knight at the end of the season, and no one's drafting him.
Well, now you can't when they draft a running back because they clearly say like we're ready to move on from those guys. So if Breece Hall gets hurt, is there a chance that Israel Abanikanda can work his way into the one spot? I think it's unlikely. They sort of just use both running backs, right? When Breece Hall went down.
Yeah. And especially with Rodgers there, like he's come from that like 2 running back system. Like one just power, straight nosed running back with AJ Dillon over the last few years, and then Aaron Jones as a really good just pass catcher, and he's a good straight line runner, like between the tackles guy. So he comes from that like 2 running back system. So I think there's chance that they use 2 running backs, but
the other thing I'll note, Aaron Rodgers is so greedy when it comes to the red zone. He wants to be a part of every single red zone touchdown. So could be a small negative for the running backs in New York. Something to look out for this year. That is not even that spicy of a take. It's true.
That guy sneaky takes away like 5
MVP,
to 10 touchdowns
MVP.
a year from his running backs. Every single time. Like he'll either do that play action boot where he just like strolls into the end zone, no questions asked, or he'll just like bootleg it out and just find a like from the half-yard line, bootleg it out and just find a tight end standing wide open, the back corner. So that is something to look out for running backs.
Ben says, good points. But what if Izzy's too good to take off the field that much if Breece isn't healthy? I still think there's not. Is it in the realm of possibilities that he gets more than 70% of the shares with those 3 running backs still there? I don't think so. I think it would be like the highest ceiling would be like 55%, 60%. And that's being generous, I think.
Yeah.
But guys, random. Sorry, I cut you off.
No. Go ahead.
The giveaway, 50 likes. It's obtainable. The last video got 40 likes. So go ahead and hit that like button. Leave a comment after the video is posted. We're going to be doing a random drawing for a Roger Goodell clown nose towel. On you.
Yeah. No, just smash that like, leave a comment, and we're going to just do a random selection. Who gets that Roger Goodell towel based on just random comment. So comment as many times as you can.
Oh, no cheating. No cheating.
well.
I'll put all the names into a random generator or whatever. So we have heart rates here at the 5 spot. Tua and Matty Ice. Are you comfortable with just going in to the finals with these 2 QBs? Curious.
If there was the bonus, yes, I'd be comfortable with it. Without the bonus, not so much. I think you're going to see Tua like in the DraftKings lineups. If this was a DraftKings lineup with the 300-yard bonus, I'd be more than comfortable stopping at these 2 quarterbacks. Without the 300-yard bonus, not so much. I would have liked to see a 3rd quarterback here, but
I'm comfortable stopping. And I wonder if you agree with this. I'm comfortable stopping with Tua if your other QB is someone like Deshaun Watson, or I even would prefer Goff, but Goff Tua, I think that's like the absolute edge. I wouldn't push it past that.
Yeah.
And stop it too. The thing is, maybe he was getting sniped at QB. Maybe they just came off the board a little early from where he was selecting. And then you get to a point where there's not a lot of upside at the end of the draft at QB.
Yeah.
So maybe he just got boxed. Mark Andrews and Pat Fryermuth here. I'm fine with that. Fryermuth, this is where he should be going with
Yeah.
all those things happening. Allen Robinson and Darnell Washington being drafted at Pittsburgh. It will touch. It'll hurt a little bit in the red zone. Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Khalil Herbert, Tank Bigsby, Lenny, and Zach Evans. How do you feel about this backfield?
I like it. I know like we're a little bit questionable on the Joe Mixon situation with the suspension potentially or no suspension at all. Who knows? Then you know the GM and the owner are backing him completely, so he might not even face any suspension or any repercussions whatsoever. That's on them. But I mean, as a running back start there, I like that a lot. And you have four guys that potentially could find like big roles in whatever
Yep.
system. Like with Lenny, like he could find a big role somewhere. Bigsby as potentially most likely a 2 in Jacksonville. He could find a lot of red zone work. And Evans, same thing. Like Cam Akers was never a sure thing.
I
So
love
I love that
Evans.
late pick.
Love Evans late. Going to Joe Mixon and pulling up this draft where he went. If we get the news that, he's returning, there's no suspension, like, does he even move up that far? Or are we just assuming all the risk for no reason where we could just draft him later after we get good news about his court case? That's how I sort of feel about Joe Mixon right now. Like, this is around the spot where I'd put him if he was certainly playing.
I
Is
think
that crazy?
I think if he's certainly playing, I'd put him in front of Dobbins. Like in front
Oh,
of Dobbins, in front
I
of
like Dobbins
Sanders.
this year, though. I like Dobbins this year. So I can't. That's cool. That's cool.
I just think you're going to see a lot more red zone work with Joe Mixon there in
Yeah.
Cincinnati than you will with. I mean, I'm higher on DeAndre Swift than a lot of other people are. I think DeAndre Swift immediately gets plugged into the best offensive line in football, and
Right.
it's a
And
pass
Rashad Penny
protection
has the highest
situation.
injury risk of any active running back, besides
Right.
maybe Raheem Mostert, but Mostert
I'm
finished a full season. So that's the thing. If he can finish a full season, Ken Penny? Still
yeah.
probably no.
I am not in the slightest bit worried about Rashad Penny. I would put Mixon. So like in that range for running backs, the way I've kind of viewed them, like if there's no suspension or no punishments at all for Joe Mixon, I go Mixon, Swift, then Dobbins, Sanders, and Cook. But I would even take Cook over Sanders. It's
the way I see this is I like Dobbins, Miles Sanders. I'd put Swift behind Mixon, but honestly, we're just picking, and maybe he goes ahead of Damian Pierce, but we're nitpicking, right? We're talking about
right.
eight spots, but
Yeah.
this guy might be suspended. He might be a cut candidate, which it's not looking that way because the coach is supporting him, but we're still assuming all the risk right now by drafting him. I think he's someone that we can just sort of wait on, but this tournament's going to fill. So maybe not for this one, maybe for Best Ball Mania. That makes more sense. We can wait for that information. We have the luxury to do that.
Right.
But I like the running back room.
I do
It
too.
was a long answer, but someone that I'd like to cover and we haven't covered yet. I love this last pick. Do you have Staffy too? Yeah, love that last pick. Tyreek Hill, Waddle, the double. You have to love getting away with the double stack here with Tua.
That's awesome. That's
not even having to reach for it too. Just even
yeah.
got to it late. It's beautiful.
That's great.
Mike Williams, Deontay Johnson, Rashad Bateman, Jalen Hyatt, MVS, and Puka. Beautiful.
Yeah, I love that team. That's a really good squad.
This is such a sleeper pick right now, and he's starting to rise up a little bit. But we're talking about Van Jefferson is the wide receiver 2 on this team. And this is someone who pulled comps to Robert Woods, Bobby Trees. So someone to look out for your Matty Ice stacks. I like that a lot. Nice draft.
I'm higher on
Um,
Deontay Johnson too. Like, it's a guy that just strictly gets targets. I know he had no touchdowns
yeah.
last year, but he was bouncing between quarterbacks multiple times throughout the season. There was just so much
Yeah.
uncertainty at the quarterback position throughout the entire time in Pittsburgh. And I think you're going to see a different Deontay Johnson this year. He's still going to get a lot of targets. He is a target monster. Um, Pickens is going to eat into that just a little bit. I don't think too much, but they didn't go
Mhm.
like crazy. They didn't draft a ton of guys at wide receiver. They brought in Allen Robinson as kind of like the slot guy where he primarily should be playing. But I think you're still going to see a lot of targets, and the touchdown share is going to go up from him. You know, he's
Mhm.
not going to go multiple seasons without a touchdown.
I like I like this pick for this team specifically. I don't like Deontay Johnson on every single team, but where
Right.
your last pick was Mike Williams, who's an upside guy. He's boom or bust. You do bring in a floor play here. Rashad Bateman's going to be boom or bust as well. Same thing with Jalen Hyatt, MVS. So it makes a lot of sense for this roster. Um, but
Definitely.
yeah, he goes in a range where I don't like him for every single team. Eberg, I think Ben said he absolutely crushed this draft. So we'll take a peek. Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence got Trevor Lawrence 20 picks after ADP. I mean, that's a fucking start. Travis Kelsey, Tyler Conklin. I'm fine with those two.
Love that with the Mahomes stack too.
Zero RB. James Cook, AJ Dillon, Alexander Madison, Rashawn Johnson, Raheem Mostert, and Jeff Wilson. So you're trying to get all of the running back touchdowns, but we'll see if A Chain sort of takes over that third down role. We might see just Mostert and Jeff Wilson kind of uh, splitting series. Like you get this series, all right, Mostert goes out and gets the next series.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's my favorite two to combine. But Mostert, like I'm just sort of out on Mostert. I know he has that one play capability, but we haven't really seen it for a while. Once Jeff Wilson was brought into Miami, he got like 14 carries that first game.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of caps your upside. Ridley, Judy, JSN, Mike Evans, Zay Jones, Hunter Renfrow, Tyquan Thornton, Russell Gage. So the Russell Gage pick is like a floor play. I think you already have a floor guy with Hunter Renfrow, and JSN might be a decent floor at some point this season. If he is stuck in the slot, we have Trevor Lawrence for QB to go with this double stack, which is nice. I'm fine with the Zay Jones pick, but really only when it's correlated. Zay Jones, I think, is going to take a massive hit this year. But Russell Gage, I'd like to see this be a boomer bust receiver, not a floor guy, because how is he going to spike into this lineup with this many receivers? And you already have a floor play in Hunter Renfrow. Tyler got removed by we have to assume it's Elon Musk up in space. Absolutely just zapped him. So we'll finish this solo. But that's my take on this team. I like the running backs for zero RB. I don't love stacking these two Miami guys. Now, that's not saying I'm not doing that with any, because I think there is leverage in doing this, but I like doing it with Green Bay, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, who both have, I think, pretty damn good upside, especially with Jordan Love. They should remain run heavy in this team. I don't mind doing it with even CMC and Elijah Mitchell, because let's say week 16, Elijah Mitchell gets the 2 touchdowns and CMC gets, he has a 10-point game, 12-point game. You advance CMC that way. And Elijah Mitchell does have that 2 touchdown capabilities. He showed it the first game back he returned from injury. So I think that's interesting. I think you can also do it with the Buffalo running backs with James Cook and Damian Harris. I don't mind also pairing those two. But Damian Harris, hey, you're back.
Yeah. I
You got zapped.
I got zapped. I don't know what happened there. Everything's still working fine, but I was
Technical
watching
difficulties.
this stream on my own computer, but not able to participate in this stream on my own computer.
Farachi
said,
in the line.
We were dealing with some technical difficulties over here.
It's okay.
PC and everything broke down
We adapt
last
and
week or 2 weeks
overcome.
ago. So we're trying.
You're adapting and overcoming. You're doing great. This is a build 2, 4, 10, 2. It's like fee fi fo thumb. Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson at QB. I think it's a little thin, but Kittle and Knox, I'm fine with that. Now that we get like
Yeah.
Knox at 152, like I'm sort of excited about Knox now. Like Kincaid, sure, he'll be on the field. I think Kincaid's gonna be more of a full point PPR guy than he
Yeah.
will a half point. Dude, look at this receiver list. Running backs,
Didn't even
Barkley,
scroll that
Henry,
far.
Etienne, and Montgomery. I'm fine with stopping 4 here. I wouldn't do it all the time. Let's see who we got at receiver. It's going to depend at receiver. Diggs, Brown, Elijah Moore, Odell, DPJ, Josh Downs, Tim Patrick, Nathaniel Dell, Cedric Tillman, Corey Davis. I like Davis here just as like, he's going to be that spike guy, right? If he could stay healthy. Cedric Tillman, same thing, sort of like an X receiver. But Cedric Tillman and DPJ, they sort of play the same role in the offense. So I don't like pairing these two in the same team. I don't know what your thoughts are on those two, but
yeah, especially with Elijah Moore there, I would have probably gone without Cedric Tillman and gone another running back just to shore that up. But I mean, 3 Cleveland receivers there that all play a very similar role. I think DPJ is still going to be like the number 2 guy there. I'm not that
behind
high
Cooper
on Elijah Moore. Yeah.
Deshaun Watson did favor him in the red zone towards the end of last season. So
the red zone targets for DPJ were much higher than they were for Amari Cooper with Deshaun Watson there. So I'm not all that high on Elijah Moore. He struggled in New York. There weren't a lot of receivers in New York, and he struggled over there. I'm higher on DPJ than I am Elijah Moore. I probably would have stopped at 2 of Cleveland receivers. If you go Elijah Moore and DPJ, I'm fine with that. But I probably wouldn't have brought in Cedric Tillman.
I agree. Does Dell make sense in this build? I mean, he makes sense in every one of your builds. So I should even ask you that question. Josh Downs is someone that does concern me though, because of the quarterback, because of Anthony Richardson not being an accurate quarterback, especially in the short yardage throws, tight window throws, and Josh Downs having not as long of a catch radius as you would like. His catch radius is extremely thin, and you can watch his tapes. Don't just watch their highlights. Actually watch someone that will tell you the positives and the negatives about them. He had a lot of drops was his sophomore year, and then he brought it down to like 5 his junior year. So we'll see if he can shore that up. He just has less of a catch radius. I think that could be a problem with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Mario at the 9 spot. Joe Burrow, Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell, Chiggy, Taysom Hill, Logan Thomas. I think it's thin at tight end for sure. It's funny that Logan Thomas survived the draft, though.
Taysom Hill is a very big sleeper. I was drafting him last year. He was like my just throw a dart, maybe hit the board.
Yeah, he crushed.
And he crushed.
2 spike weeks. I mean, that's 2 or 3 spike weeks. That's all you're looking for.
Right. And that's where he's at. Like his spike weeks are spike weeks where he throws the ball, he catches the ball, he runs the ball. He's not just a tight end. Like that's where they list him as, but he does a lot more. And I think with Derek Carr there, you probably will see a little bit more flexibility with Taysom Hill because they have an actual quarterback.
Jamal Williams kind of scares me though, as like a red zone guy.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
but I
honestly, that hurts
Jameson
Jameson Williams as well. Taysom Hill. So I'm definitely out on Jameson Williams this year. Jamal Williams. When I say Jameson, Jamal Williams. Taysom Hill definitely Like they hurt each other in that red zone.
I agree. Yeah.
Running backs: Brees Hall, J.K. Dobbins, Brian Robinson, Kendra, Jalen Warren. I like this group a lot. I think it's really good.
Yeah. I'm all in that group.
Wide receivers: A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, George Pickens, Jahan Dotson, Michael Thomas, Tyler Boyd. I'm fine with it. You have Burrow too, right? Yeah. So you got the double there in Cincinnati. I like that a lot. You also have Sam House. You have the Washington correlation. You have the Pittsburgh correlation with Jalen Warren and Pickens. So a nice all around team. I like the Logan Thomas last pick. That's funny. Not someone that's always being drafted, but he did have a spike week. Was that week 17 last year? He did show life. We're down to the last two. Ches again in this draft. Derek Carr, Trey Lance, and Jimmy. Juwan Johnson, Gerald Everett, and Hayden Hurst. Not my favorite three. Tight end might hinder you here. At least it's correlated.
I guess you're just looking for high touchdown upside from those guys. Juwan Johnson was a high touchdown guy last year. Not going to get a lot of catches, not going to get a lot of yards, but
I like Juwan Johnson.
3 catches for 3 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I like Juwan Johnson, but just not as my tight end one. I think might have waited a little too long. We'll see though. Austin Eckler, Pierce, Penny, Charbonnet, and Gus Edwards. I think you can get by with these. It'll depend on Penny's health.
Yeah, it's going to depend on like Penny and both Pierce, their health and their situation. They brought in Singletary obviously for a reason. So,
but shooting for the most upside, I think it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, Debo, Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk. So you have the San Fran correlation with Trey Lance, Brandon Cooks, Quentin Johnson, Rashid Shaheed. You have the correlation there. The double in New Orleans. So a team looks good. It's correlated. It'll depend on Trey Lance, like you said, Penny, Pierce if he doesn't get destroyed. I like the wide receiver group though a lot.
Yeah, I like the wide receiver group a lot. I think a lot of that depends on Trey Lance and if he ends up getting the starting job there.
Mm-hmm. And then tight end is a little hindrance. In Ben's draft, the true sicko, guy with the wrench, put it away. 2583, Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, rushing upside crew, right?
Love that start there.
Kyle Pitts, Cole Kmet, and Tyler Higbee. I like this trio a lot.
I like that trio a lot, especially with the Justin Fields correlation for Kmet.
It never feels good just stopping with 2 with Pitts.
Right.
But I think you can sometimes when you have to. But if you can afford to go 3, that's also good. Gibbs, Swift. Oh, you're going to love this room. Gibbs, Swift, Ooh. Connor, Devon A-Chain, and Damian Harris.
Smashed. In my opinion, smashed the running backs.
Yeah. That's an A+ from Tyler. I give it a B-. It's going to depend on Gibbs' role. It's someone that Ben's trying, he told me off stream, someone he's trying to draft a lot of because he thinks he's a riser. I just don't even think he should be this high in the first place in half-point PPR. Just a feeling. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra, Darnell Mooney, Michael Gallup, DJ Chark, Doo-Doo-Doo, Jaden Reed, Joshua Palmer, and Isaiah Hodgins. I mean, it's a good group. You got 8. I think all of them sort of make sense as well.
Yeah.
Correlated with Mooney, correlated with Cole Kmet. Anthony Richardson is completely naked out in the cold. But
that's
it's fine.
That's the thing with Richardson is like he has the rushing upside, so you don't need to necessarily stack him. You don't need to pair him. So I'm fine with him being naked. I'm fine with those Russian quarterbacks being naked. Same thing with like a Derek Carr. I'm actually fine with him being naked too. Mm-hmm. He throws a lot of touchdowns. He throws a lot of yards. He's always played from behind his entire career, so he knows what that's like. I know the Saints have a really good defense, so he may not experience that same way in New Orleans, but he does just traditionally throw a lot.
Yeah.
But
If he starts, once he starts, he's got a pretty damn good team. You know,
yeah,
even Jonathan Taylor take a lot of pressure off him as well.
a
Our
lot of
squad
upside.
here was Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, Njoku, Dolchich, and Trey McBride. Tony Pollard, Stevenson, Elijah Mitchell, Devin Singletary, Chuba Hubbard, JJ, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Traylon Burks, Gabe Davis, Wandale Robinson, Marvin Jones. So we got correlation with all three QBs. Can't be mad about it. Double anchor, running back. Elijah Mitchell with some upside behind CMC. Also change of pace back. Devin Singletary, that's a Tyler pick. No, I'm just kidding. I could see
Blame
it.
me. Blame me.
I should have, I'll have 4% Singletary because of Tyler. We can blame him after the season. And I think the tight end group is fine. Definitely have to go 3 there. But everyone, appreciate everyone coming out every single day. True sickos in the chat. Pounders is strong. On the way out, if you haven't already, drop a like at the door. We appreciate you, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Pounders.